Emotions. Can you remember a time when you were just like being an emotion? Like maybe you just graduated university, or you're seeing a friend, like a good friend after a really long time. The experience of the emotion is just so overwhelming. It's like you literally become that emotion. We can't control it. It's like tears of joy, tears of grief, uncontrollable laughter, milk just coming out of your nose. It's pure. It's the pure experience of that emotion. That Love Actually airport quote at the very beginning. When we're not just angry, but we are angry. And I'm not just sad, but I am sadness, or so in love that we feel we are love. We want to hug everyone. We're extra nice to everyone. The whole world is rosy and pink. It's pure. It's unadulterated. But what if we get an impure emotion, an experience of an adulterated or mixed or hybrid version of that emotion? So let's take anger as an example, okay? Imagine you're really angry, but you're not consumed by that anger. You're not being anger, as we were talking about just now. You're just angry. And maybe as well as the anger, you're a little bit embarrassed as well. Or maybe you feel shame, or in some way you're wronged. So that emotion of anger, it's not pure. You're angry and indignant. You're feeling anger, and you're also feeling a sense of that injustice. Also, there's a part of you that wants people to know that you're angry. And it could be a specific person, because that extra emotion, that shame, that embarrassment that's attached to the anger, well, it's tilting your experience of that pure emotion. It's not just anger, it's anger plus. Imagine you're a teenager. Imagine that person's your mother, and you want her to know you're angry, because in some way, her knowing that you're angry vindicates you. It justifies to you what you're feeling. It's like I feel bad, so you should feel bad. Or they should feel bad because they made me feel bad, right? Doesn't it sound familiar? Anyway, this video is called Shogun versus Shogun, and why actors are basically psychopaths, but God bless them anyway. For the sake of this video, I'm saying there are 3 main stages and 1 bonus stage to experiencing any emotion. Beginner level anger, or any emotion, just anger as an example, it's like making a pouty face, angry face, or maybe it's just like being in a grim mood. Maybe you're just snappy, or maybe you're just argumentative. Basically, it's showing on the outside what you're feeling on the inside, until somebody says they're sorry or gives you a hug and tells you everything's okay. And by the way, I'm calling the bonus stage of experiencing an emotion, I'm calling that bonus stage
Advanced Blackbelt Mega Anger.
Because why can't I? But I'll get to that towards the end of the video. Intermediate level anger, or any other emotion, well, it's kind of like passive aggression. There's another level to it. I say I'm not angry, but I'm actually angry. So basically my outside doesn't reflect what's happening on the inside. And on top of that, I'm doing it deliberately, but I'm doing it like this, like advanced level and not beginner level, because basically by maintaining plausible deniability of my anger, well, I win and I'm hurting you back. And ostensibly, there's nothing you can do about it. There's a retributory aspect to it. I hurt you because you hurt me, and Mom doesn't even get the opportunity to address what's really up, to give me a hug and tell me everything's okay, because I'm just like, nothing's wrong. So hopefully she goes into her head and she worries over it, right? Basically, it's classic attention-seeking behavior. Now, the point I want to make is, when I am not overcome by an emotion, like when I'm not
being anger,
there's an element of choice in me perpetuating whether I'm being angry, right? I mean, like the examples I gave earlier were like, they're a bit immature, they're a bit blunt, but you get the picture. Like if there wasn't agency in me perpetuating my emotion, I mean, if there wasn't, I'd just be a psycho, right? Or at the very least, there's been some kind of arrested development on an emotional level with me. Like imagine you're out to lunch and your friend is late. Your friend actually is late again. They're always late for lunch, but on this occasion, something snapped in you and you wanted to make sure they knew you were angry. So you're being passag, you're being snappy. Maybe you just tell them outright. You think it's reasonable behavior to be like that. You know, just because they were late for lunch, somewhere on the inside even, you think your behavior is justified. And depending on how intense your reaction is, your wanting to be a dick could be mild, like making jokes at their expense, or extreme, like straight up cutting them out of your life. Actually, Reddit AI TAH or Am I Overreacting is great for examples of this. And so most people, the older we get, like we learn to control our emotions, right? And I'm sure we've all met people in the same way who are just uncontrollably pass-ag, uncontrollable practitioners of intermediate level anger or any emotion, and they're fucking intolerable and definitely emotionally damaged. But they can't see it and we can't point it out to them. And I say this with compassion because, you know, there's a part of me there too. But thinking about it, I don't know what's scarier. People who are uncontrollably pass-ag, just stuck in that loop of intermediate level anger or any emotion, or people who know they're doing it for a deliberate effect. It's kind of sociopathic, right? Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is there is always a choice in how we behave whenever we experience that emotion. Just as an aside, playing with another emotion, love, for instance, pure love, I mean, it's pretty obvious how that looks like, right? Beginner level love is like, I want her to know that I love her, so I buy her flowers, I text her a lot, I call her a lot, blah, 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 blah. Intermediate level love, well, that can maybe look a little bit more playground. Maybe I pull her hair, make a face at her, or maybe I'm just being shy or quiet around her, or problematically, I neg her, I ignore her, do some of that pickup artist shit, a little bit more sociopathic, do what I'm doing, knowing what I'm doing just for an effect type of stuff. Anyway, enough preamble. Let's get back on topic. Loads of people earlier this year were talking about Shogun, the TV show. And I was just like, whatever, like TV kind of sucks now. There are so many good TV shows. They're a dime a dozen and they're not really good anyway, right? But I thought I'd read the book, you know? And then when Shogun cleaned up at the Emmys, like they literally cleaned up, I was still like, whatever. The Emmys are just a popularity contest anyway. But then like, as I'm nearing the end of the book, I see this quote: ambitious and unwilling to underestimate the intelligence of its viewers. Ding, 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 ding. Because one of the coolest things in the book is how we got descriptions of people as they spoke. His face was, I don't know, blank, respectful, polite, smiling, warm. And then the narrator, the omniscient third person narrator would then just say something like,
but he was seething on the inside.
or,
She could barely take that level of disrespect and insult.
but their face was just like amiable or whatever, right? And then it clicked. It's a no mask. And thinking about it, that's a huge reason why the book Shogun is so gripping and suspenseful. So much happens in it. And I say this a lot. So much happens in it and it's all believable and not at all contrived. Like Clavell isn't just killing people for the sake of keeping the story going or getting someone preggers like in a telenovela, right? So much happens because the characters are not only second guessing each other, but they're second guessing themselves, 3 times guessing, 4 times guessing, because everyone is metaphorically wearing a no mask. They are all behind this eightfold fence. And the level of emotional mastery of a character sets the watermark of their success in whatever endeavor they're undertaking. No one can really tell what's happening on the inside of somebody else. So like, how the hell did they portray that? How are the actors going to do that kind of no acting, blank face acting, eightfold fence acting, and generate the same level of suspense and intrigue like in the books? Like, how are they gonna do that and not underestimate the intelligence of the viewer? Well, I'm in, sold, let's fucking go. Instead, what I got was this and this. So I didn't finish it naturally, though I'm actually proud to say that I made it over halfway. But honestly, I just got exhausted. Like, suffice it to say, it was watered down, it was dumbed down, it was sped up. Like, the story was like shorter, faster, and there was like a whiff of Western gaze. Like, look how exotic these Japanese are. It's like they wanted to use the word Oriental, but we're just too woke to say it. Not to mention all the green screen, smell the fart acting. And the fog, so mysterious. Japan, ooh, it's like they use the fog to cover up all the janky effects. Like, bro, you don't have to always do these massive establishing shots. Focus on the small details. It's Japan, for fuck's sake. The pottery, the shoji, the tea, the kimono fabric, the swords, the hair, their hair, tatami texture, fish, literally all the small things that litter our day-to-day lives is so different. Not only because it's 450 years ago,
But it's Japan.
how they bathe, the seppuku, where did all the seppuku go? There's only like a fraction of it in the TV show. You don't always have to world build. And if you do it, you don't have to do it with these massive establishing shots. They're all the small things that you just didn't focus on. But let's just put all of that aside. They even called an episode 4, the Eightfold Fence. And what we got was this. But what's the Eightfold Fence? It's basically, we can control our emotions. We can compartmentalize them. We can keep how we really feel behind 8 fences. And what we present to the world can in no way reflect how we really feel. There's also this idea of having 3 hearts, one for the public, one for friends and family, and one just for yourself. The idea behind both being, there is a part of ourselves that will only ever be known by ourselves and no one else, no matter how much love and intimacy and friendship. Blackthorn and Mariko, prime examples, and they effed it up. And instead, what we got was this. Mastery of the Eightfold Fence, of our emotions, equals mastery of the self, equals more likely to get what we want, to think objectively. And Toranaga and Mariko and Ishido, some others as well. But those 3 in particular in the book were portrayed as like masters of the Eightfold Fence or the 3 hearts. And you can kind of see it from the outcomes or their outcomes in the story. They were masters of themselves because they were masters of their emotions. And they were masters of what I'm calling in this video
Advanced level anger.
any other emotion, really. The 3rd stage. Advanced level anger is when you can generate 1, beginner level anger. I let you know I'm angry because I am angry. 2, intermediate level anger. I say I'm not angry, but I'm actually angry. But also 3, pure anger or any other emotion. Advanced level anger is being able to
Be anger, to become anger.
and you can control perfectly throughout the scale of being angry, from just pouty face to passive aggression to exploding, seething, broiling. You can change the aura of a room by just stepping into it. You stand next to an advanced level practitioner and you can feel the emotion dripping off them. You can feel it. They emanate it as though that emotion is pure. Like, we've all been next to people like that, right? Like, it's not necessarily anger. When you're next to somebody who's experiencing an emotion, like the pure emotion, and they're just being that emotion, isn't it infectious? Isn't happiness or joy or excitement or love just infectious? Or like anger and sadness, awkward and kind of scary? Of course you can change the vibe of a room. Advanced level anger is when you can at will generate at any point of the scale an emotion. It's total emotional control. Master of your own emotions, master of yourself, Zen, behind the Eightfold Fence. I think we can all admit that being able to do that is pretty fucking gnarly. But now,
Advanced black belt mega anger.
this is when you can do advanced level anger. But when being anger, you can dial up or down the intensity of being that anger. Because everyone is different, right? We all experience emotions differently, in different ways. Some people, when they get consumed by anger, but it's kind of pathetic. Like there's no gravitas, force, oomph to it. Other people, when they get consumed by anger, well, I get kind of scared of them. Like before they even raise an eyebrow, like I'm out of there, I'm gone. Control of that intensity, being able to be this angry, is advanced black belt mega. Being able to be an emotion, become an emotion, as someone else experiences them is
advanced black belt mega.
But who the hell would want to do that? Why would you want to experience anger as somebody else? Like who would do that? Who would put themselves through that? Actors. Like think about it. Isn't that what actors do? That's what they do, at least the good ones. They pitch the intensity of the emotion perfectly, i.e. get the emotional resonance of their character. And then they amplify or project, which is the craft of acting, right? Now, doing that in person is one thing. Like on stage, you're in the crowd and the energy, from the actors is palpable. It's just you and them. It's direct. They've dialed into the appropriate intensity of the emotion of the character that they're playing. And now they're projecting it to you directly to the room so you can understand it and you can feel it. So yeah, acting in person on stage is one thing, but now imagine having to do that for film or like TV. Like as an actor, to what degree would you have to dial up the intensity of the emotion? How much would you have to project or amplify it so that the viewer on the other end can understand and can feel whatever it is you're trying to portray? And I ask because on TV or film, isn't the relationship between the viewer and the actor just intermediated by so many different processes, so many different cameras and screens? Like your TV, for instance, there's the editing process, there's the coloring process, there's the CGI process, there's the audio dubbing, there's your internet. Now imagine it's your job to be a TV actor. Jesus, you gotta be crazy to put yourself through that, to generate that emotion at will all the time. And is what you choose to do. Gotta be a little bit psycho. God bless actors though. But now imagine you're acting on a TV show, dialing up that intensity so it can be communicated through all of those processes. But you're playing a character in Shogun, where all the characters are wearing no masks. For an actor, I reckon that job's impossible. And evidently, at least in my opinion, impossible for a TV show. Anyway, like, share, subscribe. Love you.